Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can configure pronunciation, right, or name pronunciation in Microsoft 365, right? So this is the brand new capability. It's almost, I believe, more than a year now, but still many organizations and companies, they have not enabled it, or people simply they don't want to enable because of different reasons, right? So I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and enable it, right? So there are different ways. I'm going to show you and talk about it, right? So there are total three ways. By using each of those, we can simply enable and disable for the whole tenant, right? And wherever that is applicable, right? So applicable to which workloads where we can go ahead and configure and set up as an end user, right? So I'm going to talk a bit on that as well, and you would get an idea how we should be able to, whether we should allow it for the whole organizations. If yes, then how end users can go ahead and set it up as well, right? So let's start with, but before that, I would like you to like this video so that you can get to see every new video. Also share this video with your friends and people around you so that they can also learn it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because this is going to give you every new video whenever it is uploaded, and to learn more about different topics on Microsoft 365 and Azure, right? And all so many other topics as well. But yeah, definitely uh, subscribe is the one which is going to notify you on every new video, right? Okay, so let's start. So what is pronouns, right? So pronouns is something which is going to be to let pronounce or let someone know your name, right? So let's say there's a user called David, right? You wanted to uh, know his name before how we should call out or how we should pronounce, right? That is why we need to know the name of that person, right? Even if we can read it, we know, we understand that that's a David name of that user or that person, but still we wanted to hear it clearly so that we don't make any mistakes while pronouncing, while calling it out, right? And that is why this is the great capability that was introduced by Microsoft, and I believe it's more than a year now, and still that's not been adopted in many organizations as per my knowledge and my experience there, right? And still, it totally depends on the companies and organizations how they wanted to go ahead and apply it or use it for the organizations, and whether they want to allow it. Because if there is a name or the same name is with a male and a female employees in the organization, uh, that can be a problem as well. If it's, for example, if I'm not able to add, or if I don't know who is that person, whether he is male or female, right? Or we don't know who is she or who is he, right? So we can just call it as, maybe if it is a person with a female, right? Or we would not understand what's the gender of that person by the name, right? And that is why it's very important to know and understand whether that respective person is male or female, right? In that case, this is going to help us as well, right? And that is why this is going to be great capability, right? So what are the different ways? By using those ways, we can enable this. So there are different ways. I'm going to talk each of those. First way is to enable it from Microsoft 365 admin portal as an administrator, right? And once we enable it, it is going to be enabled across the tenant, right? The second way is using Microsoft Graph PowerShell. So that's also a PowerShell way to enable it for the whole tenant. And third way is to enable it or disable it using Microsoft Graph REST API, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you the first way, which is 365 portal, and the uh, last way, which is Graph API or Graph REST API, right? So those are the two ways I'm going to show you, and that way we would be able to do it, right? So that's how it is going to be allowing us to make the changes, right? All right, so I'll just simply share my screen and I will show you how we can do that. And we should be able to do that quickly. right? All right. So, all right. So let me share my screen quickly here, and I will show you from the beginning so that we can enable it using Graph Portal or Graph API, and then the 365 portal as well, right? So this is going to be adding the uh, microphone icon near the profile of that respective user or the account, right? And there's one of the end user guide as well, how end user can go ahead and add their pronunciation, right? So I'm not going to cover that in this videos, right? Because that's something that's a part of end user side and how end user can do that as well, right? But definitely once we enable it, and we can do that as well. So let me go ahead and maybe I can just simply open Outlook in the web, right? And then we should be able to do that as soon as it is enabled, right? That's what we wanted to do, right? And then we should be able to add it. All right, so let me, all right. All right, here you can see I have shared my screen, and so this is 365 admin portal. So from here, I'm going to simply show you how we can enable or disable it for the whole tenant, right? So once we are here in 365 admin portal, and we need to go to settings and then org settings, and then we need to go to security and privacy. So from here, we have name pronunciation option, and then turn on and allow pronunciation. So once we select that checkbox and save it, so this is going to be enabled for the whole tenant, right? So this way we would be able to turn it on, and it is going to be enabled for whole organization, right? So this is going to be completely enabled for the whole tenant and all the users across the organization. So this is the one of the way, right? And I'm going to jump onto the Graph Explorer, which is this one over here, and I'm logged in with my admin account as well, right? So I'm going to do that from here, right? To do that, I have certain commandlets or certain APIs that I have collected, and I'm going to run them one by one, right? So what are those? So these are the different APIs. So before that, we need to check whether that is enabled for the whole tenant. So this is the API, which is with the get method, all right? And to do that, we just need to put that API here and select the get and run this query. So once we run it, you can see that we got the output which says this setting is set to false, right? And the same setting needs to be set to true so that we can go ahead and enable it for the whole organization, right? So that is the way where we would be able to set it up, right? So let's say this is the first one, which is to set, right? So let's say I copy this out, and to do that, we just need to copy and we need to change the method, which is a patch, right? So patch is the method to change the existing configuration to the new one, which is from false to true, right? And that is why it's going to simply allow us to set or update that setting and configuration. Also, you notice that we need to set the content type as applications or JSON. So I'm going to add that details over here as well. So we need to add here, and we have to, once we add, that's going to be added here. And this is a one-time activity. We don't have to do that. But yeah, definitely it's going to be an activity for you to make that or add it every time if you are going to close this browser window and you come back and try it again. So now we saw that this is the setting currently, which is set to false. That means there is no name pronunciation enabled and active for the tenant. And now I'm going to set it to true or enable it. Now run it. Okay, so it has given us error, right? So what it says, let's see. Okay, bad 400. Now let's check if there is a right permission. Okay, so permission is granted. Probably, let me check this one. I believe that was the error. Update, come back and run it again. Perfect. Yep, that was the error where there is no colon needed over here, right? If we add it, that means it is not going to allow us and that's going to fail, right? And now you can see that the setting is updated correctly and perfectly for the whole tenant. And to check that and see that, we can go back to 365 portal and click on this one. And we should see that change. Now you can see that there is no change yet. Probably it is just not yet synchronized or it needs to sync and then it should be showing that change over here. Still it is not yet showing up, right? And probably just taking a bit of time to show that change. But yeah, that's definitely it's changed. And to check and see that, we need to just copy this endpoint. It's just the same endpoint. You can see there's nothing much. And instead of method or instead of patch method, we need to select get and execute this query. So we would see the updated results. Earlier it was false. That means it was disabled for the whole tenant and it was not activated. Now it's set to true. It's activated and enabled for the whole tenant, right? So this way it should be turned on and it's set up to true for the whole tenant, right? And that way we would be able to make that change happen, right? So this is the pretty straightforward way to do it using Graph Explorer. So this is using Microsoft Graph REST APIs, right? So these are the different methods that we can leverage and use for so many different use cases, activities. And this way we would be able to perform any activities across Microsoft 365. And it's even available for Microsoft Azure as well. And even we can use all those capabilities with this as well, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about. And even as I said, there's a way for PowerShell as well, but I'm not going to show in this video as that's something we have to take down the steps and then we would be able to do it, right? So it is same with PowerShell as well. There is nothing much or there is no difference at all. And the same commandlets would be used and you need to set it true or false and using Microsoft Graph PowerShell, right? So yeah, that's all for this video. I wanted to show you and talk about, right? So that you can also know and learn how we can do this. And this is the one of the capability, as I said, it's been not used across the many organizations or they have not enabled it. And as I have enabled it, so it may take time to synchronize it on the end users profiles and to show up, right? And to do that, maybe upon synchronization, users would be able to uh, change that on their profiles, right? So that way it is going to be allowing them to add pronunciations or change it or something like that, right? So yeah, that's how we can go ahead and do that. And we should be able to do it. All right, so yeah, that's all for this video. I wanted to show you or talk about, and let me know if you have done this before or what are your experiences and if you face any issues or challenges, and would be happy to answer any questions you might have. and would be happy to collaborate on it as well. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.